It's the 10th year for the Stephen Gallacher Foundation Under 15 and Under 13 Championships, and the venue, Kingsknowe in Edinburgh. The course was in great condition, and at long last it finally felt like summer after weeks of fairly mediocre weather. 45 golfers entered the event, a mix of boys and girls, ready to take on the challenging slopes and undulations of this tricky parkland layout. Parents, carers and volunteers were at the course for each of the 3 days, with Kingsknowe offering a warm welcome to all. As always, there was net competitions running alongside the scratch tournament, a chance for all the golfers to maybe win a trophy and lower their handicaps. Here at the 7th and day 2 we have Alana Nicol with a nice touch from the greenside bunker. Great shot. She was playing alongside Annie Pennycook, who we can see sinking a great putt on her way to finishing 6th in the scratch under 13s category and 3rd in the net under 13s competition. But who was in the running for the main title? Well, one golfer trying to move clear at the top in round 2 was Fraser Walters, playing out of Kingsknowe Golf Club. By the time he reached the 9th, this par putt gave him a 2-shot lead at 4 over for the tournament. Trying to stay in touch was Cameron Burns from Glasgow. Here at the 7th, in his second round, you can see him sink a great birdie putt. That would take him to 5 over for the tournament and only 1 shot back at this point. Fraser Walters would drop a shot at 11, but was determined to get things going towards the end of his second round, starting with a good approach here at the par 4 12th. Playing alongside Fraser and Cameron Burns was day 1 leader Cameron Meldrum from East Kilbride, and he was still right alongside the leaders at 4 over par on the 12th and would stay at that score after a nice chip up to leave a tap in for his par. But Fraser Walters would sink his birdie putt and begin to pull away with a back 9 played in 1 under par for a 4-shot lead at the end of day 2. So on to the final day's play, where the sun was still shining as the leaders reached the turn. Here on the 9th, Cameron Burns was now 7 shots back. All 3 of the leaders in the final group missed the green here on this tricky par 3. A nice chip would see Cameron get his par to get the deficit back to 6, as Fraser Walters would miss that putt for his par and drop a shot. Cameron Meldrum was also struggling, and his putt stayed out. He was now 1 shot behind Cameron Burns in the battle for second. Could anyone catch Fraser at the top of the leaderboard? Well, on to the par 4 10th, where despite a decent approach here that we can see from Fraser into the heart of the green, the slope would roll his birdie putt way past the hole and he would drop a shot with a bogey. Well, Cameron Burns, well, he had to hold that for his par, but no problem. 5 shots the difference now between Cameron Burns and the leader Fraser Walters, but any hopes that Cameron might have built up of catching Fraser took a knock at the par 3 11th. An excellent tee shot from Fraser Walters. Well, Cameron, his tee shot landed on a bunker to the left. A great shot out there, but that was his second attempt, and he tapped that in to bogey the hole to drop a shot. And in the meantime, Fraser Walters sank his birdie putt. A wonderful 2 there, and he took his opportunity to create more distance at the top. 7 shots clear, 7 holes to play. In the under 13s competition, it was Stella Walters who was leading, helped by some nice approach play like here at the 17th. You can see the hill that they have to come up with their approach. Her closest challengers were Carla Burns and Jimmy Middleton, who we see here with a nice chip from the edge of the green. But it's Stella who would take the title. Her winning margin would be an impressive 10 shots over Jimmy and Carla. The third player in this group was Orla Moran, who would be the highest placed girl in the under 15 scratch tournament, finishing in 4th spot. Up ahead on 18, Zara Lindsay from Kingsfield and Linlithgow was holding out to win the net competition for the under 15s, beating her handicap by 13 shots over the 3 days. But back to the leaders for the under 15 scratch title, and Fraser Walters could relax on the last with a massive 8-shot lead over his closest challenger, Cameron Meldrum. So, could he put on a show for the gathered crowd there in front of the clubhouse? Absolutely. What a tee shot at the 290-yard par 4 closing hole from Fraser. Pin high into a slight breeze. Appreciated by all those watching on. So, could he finish with an eagle? Let's have a look at the putt. Well, it was never anywhere else. A spectacular way to get back to level par for the tournament and secure the victory. In the fight for second place, Cameron Burns would have this birdie putt to finish on 10 over par, meaning that the third man in the group, Cameron Meldrum, would need to sink his birdie putt to beat that total by 1 shot. Could he do it? Well, it wasn't to be. Cameron Meldrum would have to settle for a par on the last and finish on the same total as Cameron Burns at 10 over par, but he would secure second place on a countback. Well, after the trophies were handed out by 2023 Scottish Men's Amateur Champion Cameron Adam alongside Foundation Manager Scott Knowles, we got the thoughts of the newly crowned champion.
First day didn't go as planned, but second day did and third day did, so I'm very happy. I got into it to the middle of the round and I finished really well, birdied 17 and 18.
A great victory for a golfer with a long history of playing Stephen Gallacher Foundation events.
I've started when I was 5, first one, so a while now, and it's been great. So many years, and I've really enjoyed it.
Congratulations to all the winners, and thanks again to Kingsknowe and all the Foundation volunteers for another great week.